Hey everybody, welcome to Get Busy Watching! I'm your host, Honest Dan. Let's talk movies. Welcome to my final rapid fire of the year, romance and comedy edition. Let's get started. This Filipino rom-com follows two platonic best friends, but when the guy falls in love with a girl that she set him up with, she questions if she really wants to remain friends. While far from perfect, I love this movie. It subverts a lot of tropes of the genre and has a pretty mature and ambiguous ending. I can't deny that a lot of the humor is hokey, and as a result, the acting can be annoying. Drunk people acting cartoonishly drunk, heavily slurring words, and big expressions that don't always befit the tone, and of course, my personal no-no, narrations. They're wildly unnecessary here. But where those shortcomings do keep it from being legitimately great, I can't help but find the story endearing. Sure, platonic friends finding romance in each other isn't a new tale. In fact, it's as old as time, but the earnest acting in the more dramatic moments from both stars Lovi Poe and Carlo Aquino sell the characters, and their chemistry is wonderful. And the way the story unfolds, what lengths Charlie goes to in order to explore her own feelings for Kurt. It's not okay what she does later on, but the movie acknowledges this in more ways than one. And again, the ending alone made the entire experience worthwhile. Only a scant few romantic comedies or dramas ever tread this route and made it feel rewarding. It's getting raked through the coals by both critics and audiences, but I don't agree. Look, I'm not sitting here saying it's the next great romance film for the generations. No, it's probably not that, but I really liked it. So I say, if you're subscribed to Netflix, give it a shot and see what you think. My honest rating for Seasons, a strong 4 out of 5.
It's a yes or yes.
Come on.
Ellie Kemper is divorced and goes on a hiking trip to clear her mind. In addition to the hiking group attendants, she is also joined by her younger brother's best friend that she doesn't like. It's not bad. I mean, I can respect a few things that it tries to do, as forced as they can kind of be, but it isn't anything to write home about. I swear, Netflix rom-coms are Hallmark movies that have enough money to afford recognizable TV actors. I appreciate that this mostly avoids common comedy tropes where the characters have bigger personalities than normal people have. Even Nico Santos, whom has a habit of playing wildly over-the-top characters, is given some solid dramatic beats that make him relatable and fun to see on screen. Most of the support characters have that formula. One says she wants to take a vow of silence on the hike, goes nowhere. One seems like a ditzy blonde but is a whiz at cryptocurrency, and another is a self-proclaimed hiking fiend. Turns out he's a liar. At least they're not one joke and are pleasant people, if not pointlessly multi-dimensional. Of course, we have that classic Hallmark movie trope where the main male-female characters can't stand each other, but you know are just gonna end up together by the end. Spoiler alert, I guess. Not a lot of jokes land, and I certainly question the validity of some of the hiking survival tips, but for the feel-good nature of the flick, it's hard to be too upset. I think the only thing I genuinely didn't like was Kemper's Helen. Helen is a little too mean-spirited toward her love interest who only has ever been a decent dude just trying to help everyone out, including her. But she considers him weird for wanting to study marine wildlife. Man, what does this dude see in her? That's the best way to describe this movie. It's inoffensive, it's feel-good, can't be too mad at it, but at least it does try to bring out good performances. And it does kind of work out for what it is. Like a Hallmark movie, it's one you watch with your mom to kill off 90 minutes. It's whatever, but I'm sure it will find an audience. My honest rating for Happiness for Beginners, a strong 3 out of 5.
Yeah, we're both young. Look at us, two young people in the wilderness.
So a bear gets us.
Right.
big fat Greek family is back. After Tula's father passes away, the family travels to Greece in hopes of finding his childhood friends and give him his journal, but the search proves difficult. I wanted to like this one, because the original film came out at a time when rom-coms were pretty innocent and well-meaning and weren't as try-hard as they are today. But this one was very try-hard. Never mind that the comedy doesn't really land, save for a few chuckles here and there. The writing is over-reliant on characters having some sort of gimmick to make them stand out. New character Victory, the non-binary mayor of this small Greek town, is strange in how they insist on how selfies are taken, followed by a catchphrase. This happens way too many times. Other characters, like the brother, is constantly walking around naked. The daughter now has a boyfriend that is inexplicably there with the most pretentious name imaginable, Aristotle. And frankly, the entirety of the plot is just everyone getting into shenanigans rather than doing anything tangible to move the plot forward. Everyone's here to honor Tula's father, but there's not enough actual searching for his friends. And if you're wondering who in this movie is getting married, new characters are. New characters that distract from the core characters, and we learn next to nothing about them, other than their romance is forbidden, for some reason. I can't deny that Greece is beautiful. I do enjoy the talents of stars Nia Vardalos and especially John Corbett. Sadly, I did have moderately high hopes for this one. All I wanted was something cute and fun. It sure thinks it is, but I wasn't charmed. Look, it's not like it's the worst of the year, but man, what a disappointment. My honest rating for My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, a weak 3 out of 5.
You can't afford since you got fired.
Retired.
A Greek man retires a week after he is dead.
This mockumentary follows a theater camp on the verge of being closed down due to a lack of funds, but the teachers and kids put all their effort into one show that will hopefully save it. It's alright, an equal amount of stuff that I did like, and an equal amount of stuff that I did not like. I will never understand movies and their portrayal of theater as some sort of glorified cartoon. None of my teachers were this flamboyant, and no student was this over the top in their personalities. And those that were not actors. This is closer to a parody of the theater experience, which has been done before. It's boring, cliched, and honestly a little frustrating. Most of the humor doesn't land as a result. Most of the characters are unlikable. Ben Platt's character is selfish, whiny, and mean-spirited. I won't say all of the humor falls short. Some of the mean-spirited humor when frightening the kids, seeing their eyes wide with the fear from pressure, that was fun sometimes. My favorite character is far and away Troy, played by Jimmy Tatro, as the new doofus head counselor. Normally this type of dumb stereotype isn't something I agree with, but he's the only character that made me consistently laugh, has a well-written arc, for what it was, and was genuinely likable compared to most. And I do enjoy the intended spirit of what this was going for. It does make me reflect back on my own theater experiences as a kid, as a teenager, and my young adult years, and I am reminded that I do have fond memories. Still kicking myself for not trying out for the part of Josh in Bang Bang You're Dead in high school. It doesn't really tickle my fancy. I would just, for once, would like to see a movie about theater that isn't a borderline satire of it. But I do appreciate the intentions. Theater fans may enjoy this more than I will, but if you're not a theater fan, you're really not missing out if you decide to pass on it. My honest rating for Theater Camp, a 3 out of 5.
Joan here. Joan still!
A young wannabe magician with dreams of bringing his talent to New Vegas winds up working as a male stripper alongside a famous act of now older male dancers called the Chocolate Chips. It's Magic Mike, but with older black dudes. I assume. I only ever saw Double XL. It's really not that bad. There's quite a bit of charm to it, has likable characters, but when it fumbles, ooh, it fumbles hard. Harder than Johnny Sins. There are 2 points of contentment for me. The first is the romance between main character Merlin and his romantic interest Robin. Despite the audience supposed to be rooting for them to get together, both are wildly flawed people who don't deserve each other, as they both lie or omit the truth left and right. And it conducts itself no different than a Hallmark movie. Lovey-dovey at first, end of second act breakup, then finally get back together. Groan! And the most egregious offense, Tiffany Haddish's narrations need to shut the hell up. Oh my god, how little faith the writers must have with their own work that they need bottom of the barrel humor to explain what's happening in the movie and what's going on in the heads of the characters to need constant voiceover work. And of course, not all of the humor landed. With that out of the way, I do enjoy the performances. JB Smoove in particular surprised me, as he's generally not my favorite funny man, but he clapped here. I said what I said. Wesley Snipes was oodles of fun, and pretty much anything surrounding Dr. X and coloring his skin black had me chuckling a lot. It's the likability of the actors and their respective characters that carried the film for me. Is it as tantalizing as Magic Mike? I don't know, you'd have to ask the women that this is supposed to appeal to. I assume not, but I feel like I enjoyed myself more here than I ever did with Channing Tatum's outing. It has its moments, both high and low, so I do recommend checking it out, but, you know, wait for it to come out on a streaming service. My honest rating for Back on the Strip, a strong 3 out of 5.
X pretending to be black.
It's not black, it's caramel.
Well, it looks like shit to me. This is bullshit, Luther.
A pair of bullied lesbian teenagers start a club where they can learn how to defend themselves, but secretly just want to hook up with attractive girls. But as their lies grow and they get closer with these girls, drama ensues. Fight Club. If it took place in high school, was about girls, and wasn't smart. I did not like this. Once more, we get a high school movie where the school is closer to a cartoon where people act in ways that no school would allow. The way certain teachers talk to their students, ain't no way they'd still have a job. All of this could be overlooked if any of it was funny or creative. It's not. What makes it so much worse is that there aren't any likable characters. PJ's entire personality is hooking up with a cheerleader at any cost. And Josie is just a wallflower that never thinks or acts on her own, continuing to lie to her romantic interest for no reason. A lie that PJ started. Even the characters that you're supposed to feel sorry for when the lies get exposed aren't any better as they go back to their self-destructive habits. What's worse is by the end, no one seemed like they learned any real lesson, or the build-up to the lesson wasn't earned in any meaningful way. I would appreciate the climactic fight at the end for its violence, but the way it concludes makes me think this should have been an animated film and it would have worked out better. I want to say something positive about Rachel Sennett, who is the only actress in this movie that I know and like. But the material she's given, her talent just cannot power through her unlikable character. I think I'm in the minority of people that don't like it, so more power to you if you do. But hell if I know what y'all see in this. My honest rating for Bottoms, a 2 out of 5.
Okay, that's great. I say that we go again.
Reggie is a border terrier who was abandoned by his reprehensible owner and vows revenge for his mistreatment with the help of other, more worldly dogs. Surprisingly, it's not that bad, despite my disdain for Will Ferrell movies. I mean, it's still not good, but I have seen far worse. Make no mistake, this movie is one joke. The dogs curse a lot. Throw in poop jokes, vomit jokes, and a slew of other bottom-of-the-barrel humor that doesn't land, and I found myself more annoyed than entertained. This was pretty consistent throughout the flick, but let's be real and talk about the things I did enjoy. This is essentially an allegory for abusive relationships, which it doesn't hide. When the story allows itself to have legitimate emotions and drama, it works. I wasn't choked up or anything, but I was impressed with the honesty in the writing. And I will say, 2 scenes in particular had me cracking up. The first was Dennis Quaid. Enough said. It's a cameo, but it's the best cameo in recent memory. And finally, without giving anything away, there's more to that mushroom scene you see in the trailer. The real ones know. It's not going down in history as my favorite comedy. The potty humor alone is enough for me to not like it. But when it hits, it really hits. Yeah, I can safely say that this is my favorite Will Ferrell flick in years, but that's really not saying much. And I know Will Ferrell fans are just gonna eat this up. They're gonna enjoy this far more than I ever could. As for like-minded folks like me who are not Will Ferrell fans, I don't know, give it a shot when it comes out on a streaming site. Might be worth it. My honest rating for Strays, a 3 out of 5.
That is the craziest thing I have ever seen. And I'm Dennis Quaid, and Dennis Quaid has seen some shit.
Adam Sandler's youngest daughter wants an epic bat mitzvah, but when a combination of public ridicule and catching her best friend making out with the boy she crushes on, drama ensues. For a Happy Madison production, this wasn't that bad. For a coming-of-age teen comedy, it's remarkably mean-spirited, but maybe it did have a few surprises. I appreciate that Adam can really sidestep on his on-screen presence to let Sunny have the spotlight and keep the focus on her. And props to both his daughters, they have their own brand of screen presence that makes them fun to watch, despite Sadie being more of a support character. This is doubly so for Sunny, who does a wonderful job of carrying this flick on her shoulders. As for the actual story, it's a mixed bag for me. On the one hand, I found Stacy to be wildly mean when it came to her anger toward Lydia, overreacting and being hypocritical, getting mad over situations that she created in the first place. Sure, Lydia was no saint in these moments, but the way Stacy builds and builds on her ever-evolving schemes to hurt Lydia, I found it difficult to root for Stacy a lot. But I can't deny that the writing does play a constant game of tug-of-war with her character. She is constantly trying to apologize to Lydia, but due to the heated nature of their fractured friendship, it always goes south. And even when Stacy schemes to do something completely irredeemable, she stops herself knowing where too far is too far, even if that goes horribly wrong as well. I don't think it maintains that balance of sympathizing with her with straight up not liking her very well, leaning more toward not liking her, but I guess that's somewhat the point, and maybe due to how it ends, it's more mature than I give credit. Compared to something like Bottoms, I bought into this a whole hell of a lot more, and sometimes it does feel real, as wildly dramatic as it can be. But that's the Sandler family for ya. Look, I don't think it's especially funny, but I do think that the youngest Sandler has a lot of talent, and I hope that she branches out and showcases that talent in other projects. With that said, I do recommend this. My honest rating for You Are So Not Invited to My Bad Mitzvah, a 4 out of 5.
Dad, I need a break.
Well, welcome to being an adult, and welcome to being Jewish. We don't get breaks.
Oh my God, stop!
Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there. Hope to see you soon.